Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome around the globe to Kangen Water Radio, featuring the Kangen Water Health and Information International Call, where we consider, clarify, and often correct the conventional wisdom around Kangen water technology, the different machines, the science behind water types, uses, and benefits, the testing process, the maintenance and cleaning of the machines, and much, much more. We also explore a plethora of other topics as we teach, promote, and discuss the three-pronged approach to health and wellness: hydration, detoxification, and complete macro and micronutrition. I'm family physician, Dr. Lisa Battle Singletary, your trusted health navigator, your virtual keto coach, and I will be joined by my co-host and fearless leader, Mr. Terrence Hope, a NAGIC 6A distributor extraordinaire. And together, we bring you the best of both worlds. This is call number 403, and it is Wednesday, June 30th, last day of the first half of 2021. Oh my goodness. We're into the dog days of summer here in the East Coast and much of the country. And so hydration is going to be completely important, or the importance of hydration is going to be multiplied. And our bodies do something amazing to help to address this. And we have technology that's amazing to help to address this. But this topic today, I'm so excited to bring to you. Now, we've talked a little bit about the kidneys. We talked about, actually, I'm going to refresh what we talked about. But think about what the kidneys do. You know what they do. You know a little bit of what they do. You know that if you're dehydrated, your urine becomes more concentrated. You know that if you're fully hydrated and you've been drinking your water, your urine becomes dilute. But how? How does it do it? That's what I'm going to talk about today. One of the miracles of nature. It's right. I put it right up there with photosynthesis. Right? It's a miracle. So I am going to start off with this topic, and I'm calling it the Adjustment Bureau. And why is that? Because the kidney has the ability to adjust to our environment, to our circumstances. And it is amazing the way it does it. So let's get to the content. The Adjustment Bureau, the miracle of countercurrent multiplication. That's pretty much the magic. So let me get this slide moving. There we go. Okay, so here's a little refresher. We've talked about the kidneys, their location in the back, just peeking out from underneath the ribs. The blood, oxygenated blood, flows in, right, from the aorta into the renal arteries. Stuff happens, and then deoxygenated blood flows out, but also urine flows out. So we're going to cut this right kidney in half, just like this left kidney's been cut in half, so we can see inside. And there it is. So let's talk about just how the kidneys are arranged. There's, if you can see here, something like an outer structure that's called the cortex. That's different than this inner area that's a little darker, called the medulla or medulla. People pronounce it differently. And these triangle triangular shaped areas are called the pyramids. So we're going to, and actually, if you take the cortex and the medulla belonging to a pyramid, that's like a lobule or a lobe. What's next? Nephrons. Okay, so here's where the business happens. Here's where the action happens is nephron. And we have here in this here's one collecting duct that is collecting from different nephrons. But if you just think, we start from this white capsule, and we talked about that capsule, that's where the filtration happens. Then that fluid goes down and up and then back down. And by the time it gets right here at the end of the collecting duct, urine has happened. It's made urine, and all this calyx does, this finger-like projection here, all this does is collect the urine and then carry it down to the bladder. So here's one lobe, or one pyramid, if you just look at the medulla. And oh my goodness, the nephron, which again, we start with a capsule. We're starting here with this capsule. Here's a nephron. Tube goes down and up and then out the collecting duct. Here's another nephron over here where the glomerulus, the capsule, filters the blood, and the fluid goes down, all the way down, back up, and then eventually out the tubule, out into eventually the bladder, okay? So millions and millions and millions of capsules, tubes, blood vessels, and ducts make up the kidney. Here are the capsules, the round things. The tubes are the white things that go down and come back up, down and come back up. Blood vessels, right? We've got the afferent arterioles and efferent arterioles. Then the arterioles go down, all the way down. Oops, clicked too fast. All the way down to the bottom of the pyramid, or of the lobe. And we're going to see how that is so important. All right, so here was the point, the main point of the last talk about, or the first talk about the kidney, and that is that inside this capsule, there's this capillary structure called the glomerulus. And these are the smallest blood vessels, the capillaries. But these capillaries are particularly vulnerable because they're under pressure. There's pressure from the heart beating that is created, and that pressure is double the pressure that's in most capillaries where gas exchange and nutrient exchange happens. So these capillaries are vulnerable. This is why when there's too much sugar in the blood, it's easy for these glomerular capillaries to get damaged. If there's too much pressure, if you have high blood pressure, and these capillaries can blow out. We talked about all the things that can happen that damage these delicate structures here. Okay, so we want to take care of our capillaries. And if we take care of our kidney capillaries, we're taking care of capillaries all over the place. But we didn't talk about what happens to this filtrate, this fluid that comes out of the capillaries under pressure. Once that fluid comes out, now notice it's kind of clear. They're not supposed to be blood cells in it. There's not supposed to be proteins in it. There's not supposed to be any big molecules in it, just tiny, tiny molecules. It starts a journey down the renal tubules, and a miracle occurs. Stuff happens. And what I'm going to do in the next few slides is be a little more explicit about that miracle. I'm going to try not to go too deep, get too geeky, because the real payoff is at the end. So just try to hang with me as we take this journey through the renal tubules, and prepare to be amazed. Now look at all of these things. This isn't even all of the functions of the kidney. This is not everything that a kidney does. But what we're going to talk about today is how the filtrate leaves the bloodstream and takes this journey through all these different types of tubules and ends up dumping into the collecting duct as urine. And that is the final product, returning blood into urine, or blood plasma into urine. Really blood, but I hope you get my point. All right, so the tubes, the magic happens here. So we start with filtrate, and it goes through all these tubules. It goes down, some go down further, and it goes up. Now I'm going to start with this part of the tubule here, because see how it's a little thick? And it shows that it's thick because this part of the tubule, doesn't matter what they call it, is impermeable to water. Okay, water cannot get in or out. And that's due to the thickness of the epithelium here. However, something happens here where this area pumps salt or solutes into the interstitial space. So you could say that this area pumps out the salt or shakes out the salt, but it holds on to the water. This area with the thin walls holds onto the water. No, holds onto the salt, but it pumps out the water. All right, so this is what's important to understand. Where is it pumping it to? Well, remember that picture that Mr. Hope has of the fish in the pond. The fish is the cell or the body structure. This is made up of a bunch of cells. The pond is the interstitial fluid. So it's pumping salt out into the pond, right? And so the pond is getting more and more and more and more and more salty. Well, the water that's inside here is drawn out into the salty pond just by osmosis. So as the urine comes down, it becomes more and more and more concentrated because the salt stays inside and the water diffuses out. And it can get to a concentration up to 1200 when it goes deep enough. Then as it comes up, the salt is pumped out and the water stays inside. So what we've done is take a high volume of fluid that was filtered and turned it into a small volume of fluid. And the body can reabsorb the rest of the fluid as needed. Now, I have a little better picture, but just, that there's a part where the salt stays, or the salt is pumped out into the pond, into the interstitial area. And here, water stays in, here, water flows out. Okay, what does that all mean? What's the point? Here we go. Well, remember, these green arrows mean that salt or sodium is actively pumped out. So whether you have a lot of fluid or a little fluid, a lot of salt, a little salt, it's pumping it out and it's setting up this concentration gradient. And here, the water just on the thin side just flows out because the salt is pulling it. The salt that's in the pond, now it's a salty, salty, salty pond. It's pulling the water out. All right, so what happens? Let me move that. Okay, so here's the magic. So again, here's the thick part. These red dots mean active transport. Sodium is actively being pumped out of this area into the interstitial space. So your urine, your plasma filters here. It goes down the first thin tube. And because of this salt that's been pumped out, the water is pulled out and the urine is getting more, or the filtrate is getting more and more and more and more concentrated. And then as it comes up, more of these salt particles are being pumped back into the interstitial area or the pond. So what have we accomplished now? Well, now we have a collecting duct, which is going all the way through this area. So this concentration gradient has been set up in the medulla, and the collecting duct has to pass through. Let's just go back to this picture, okay? So we've got these tubules. So the concentration is getting more and more and more, and the collecting duct has to pass through. The blood vessels pass through. So these structures are in a really, really salty pond, okay? So let's just say you're really, oh, okay, let me ask you this. Have you ever heard of antidiuretic hormone? Raise your hand if you have. I can't see your hands, but you might have heard of a diuretic. You might have heard of a drug called Lasix or a drug called HCTZ, hydrochlorothiazide. Those are diuretics, and diuretics do what? They make you pee, right? So an antidiuretic hormone is something that will make you not pee. Now, what if you're dehydrated and you're in the desert and you're like, water, water, please, I need water. Do you want to have your urine dilute and flowing and all the water leaving your body? Or do you want your urine to get concentrated? Well, your collecting duct that's just passing through this concentrated area has, I like to think of them as shutters, window shutters that you can open or close. And it's antidiuretic hormone that opens the shutters. So if the shutters are open on the collecting duct, look over on the right-hand picture, as the collecting duct passes through this concentrated area, because of this active transport of sodium into the interstitial space, just as it passes through, if it opens up the shutters, water can get out and it'll be pulled out of the collecting duct. The urine will get concentrated. You'll have a small volume of concentrated urine. So the body is conserving water because you're dehydrated. But what if you do what Mr. Hope tells us to do, which is to drink 4 liters or 4 quarts of 8.5 water a day or 9.0 water a day, Kangen water, and your body is full. I mean, you're well hydrated, right? The antidiuretic hormone will be cut off. The shutters on your collecting ducts will be shut. And this dilute urine will just pass through. You'll have a large volume of dilute urine. Your urine will be a lighter color and there will be more of it. As opposed to when you're dehydrated, your urine will be smaller volume and a darker color. That it's I just think that is the most amazing thing. So that is how the same tubes, the same urine, the same structure, the same concentration gradient can be manipulated, or how you adjust. We call this the adjustment bureau, with the shutters open for dehydration, to concentrate, to let the body grab that water back and conserve fluid, or to cut off the antidiuretic hormone, shut the shutters, and let the dilute urine flow. All righty. That is my story. And I'm sticking to it. Okay. So, Mr. Hope, are you with us, sir? You might have something to say about all of this. Are you able to join us? Mr. Terrence Hope, an Edge 6A distributor extraordinaire.
Well, Dr. Singletary, I might have a word or two to say about that.
All right. Yay, he's here.
And it's not just because I know you. So it's not really a favoritism thing. But I love the way, you taught that, and the information you provided, and the information you provide all the time on this call. Your explanation just now of the kidney function was so clear. And I think everyone who sees this on YouTube, on Zoom Live right now with us, on every opportunity, they'll really will see that and understand that maybe for the first time, they really got an excellent teaching on the subject. So that we can now more so see inside of our bodies and get a better understanding of what we're talking about when we're talking about hydration and detoxification. Dr. Singletary, maybe I'll show a quick clip myself if it's okay. You really just gave a really excellent, just depiction and description step by step of, what it is what the body is doing. And I could tell you this, the more I study the body, the more I study anatomy, and the more I get to see diagrams like what you just showed. I mean, I've seen diagrams, scans where you can see right down to the cellular level of people's bodies. You can see the arteries, the capillaries, the muscles. I mean, when you look inside someone, you really get to appreciate the miracle of life itself. I mean, look at what you just showed us in terms of the kidney function. Every step of the kidney has a specific purpose. Even when the pathway is wider, when the pathway is narrower, when it's going through a loop downward, when the water is going through a loop upward, it's not just haphazard. Well, that's just laid out to give it more room. Something's going on every step of the way within that.
Mm-hmm.
And to go from one area of the kidney to another area of the kidney to another area of the kidney to finally produce urine to remove toxicity. The more I look inside the body like that, the more I would never want to hurt anybody.
Mm.
The oath of the medical profession is what first do no harm. But when you look inside that body, it's like, you as a conscious individual have no ability to create such a thing. So
they're trying.
I'm sure they have, but it's like the old adage. There was a saying that a man challenged God and said, God, I can build a human being just like you can. And God said, okay. He said, okay, let's go for it. And God said, okay, me first. So God gets some dirt, puts it together, takes the clay, forms it into man, breathes the breath of life, and now man is alive. And the other man says, okay, guys, okay, my turn. Okay, and the man goes over to grab some dirt to put it together, and God says, oh, no. Get your own dirt. So humans think that they create life. You're just taking what God has already created and manipulating something. So you're not actually creating. And so the miracle of life itself, the amazement of what's inside the body. And I want to put this thing over here so I can show you. And so let me pull up one of my slides in a second. So what do we talk about? We talk about hydration and detoxification. We talk about the body's self-healing ability. We have no conscious ability. I'm going to go out on a limb here, Dr. Singletary. Our bodies are self-regulating, from the eating of food to the digestion of food to the absorption and creation of energy, to everything that we do. So it just makes me wonder, at what point does the involuntary in the body end and the voluntary begin? How much are we really in control of all of this? But oh, I'm sorry, I'm hitting the wrong computer. I'm doing too many things. But you know what? Before I go into any more detail, let's see if there are any questions out there from our forum, and let's take it from there. The body needs water to hydrate, to detox. Kangen water is an antioxidant water. If you're drinking the kind of water that has a detox effect, you can get the great benefits of that. As you look at different types of waters out there, they cannot detox. What kind of water can? Electrolyzed reduced water, what we like to call Kangen water. Yes. So if there's any questions from the group out there, maybe we can start with them and their comments.
So you can raise your hands, or you can, if you unmute yourselves, we can see that, or start your video so we can see you and you can physically raise your hand. But I just wanted to, I hope there was this one slide where it had a lot of words, and I hope it was clear, right? That what I shared today is just a drop in the bucket, so to speak, of what the kidney does. It is so intricate, so complex. It has chemoreceptors, baroreceptors. It has it has to create ATP, for energy, for all of those little sodium, potassium pumps to keep pumping. And I mean, it is an active process, not a passive process. The kidneys are amazing. So I just and I hope, I know, I'll talk about blood pressure at some point. And when I do, I'll share some of those extra special cells that are in the kidney because how does the antidiuretic hormone get turned on or off? The body senses. You don't have to say to your body, you don't have to say to your kidneys, you're dehydrated, think. You must concentrate your urine. Like you said, Mr. Hope, it happens automatically. But there are cells that are specifically designed to sense if they're being stretched too much, and they're like wrapped around a capillary. If they're being stretched too much, the blood pressure is high, we need to decrease the blood pressure. And multiple feedback loops come into play to decrease the blood pressure, whether it is increasing the diameter of the blood vessels or increasing the flow of the urine, or whatever the body has to do to get that blood pressure back to normal. and those stretch receptors will go back. All right.
You know, Dr.
Go back in.
Singletary, you just gave me an idea, and these conferences that we have give birth to ideas.
Mhm.
I have an idea because, you know, one of the things that people can come to understand and realize that much more is the body is self-regulating, as we speak about all the time. But the body is a unit, yes? And so very often, um, people disease is referred to by the organ or cells that it's affecting.
Mhm.
So one will say, oh, well, that person has kidney failure. One can go further and say, oh, well, that person has high blood pressure.
Mhm.
One can talk about the pancreas and say, well, one has diabetes. One can talk about cancers and say, oh, one has uh, colon cancer or kidney cancer or liver cancer, or whatever the case is. Yeah.
Mhm.
But because of that separation, we come to think of the body in terms of separate chambers as opposed to a unit. One of the analogies I present is of a swimming pool and a bottle of red dye, and you've got this gigantic swimming pool. And if I throw the bottle of red dye in there big enough, eventually it's going to make the entire pool red, no matter how big it is. Because it's one body. And, you know, in the same way, diseases are given names per the organ that is being affected, but it's one body. So here's the game I like to play, Dr. Singletary, as this just came to my mind as you were speaking, born out of what you've done today and what you just said. Now, one can say one has high blood pressure, but what does one know that the kidneys are involved with that? Does one know that there's aspects of the circulation system that's involved with that? Of course, blood pressure. Does one know there's different things going on? And so there's a relationship. So now what if we play a game where today you've done an incredible job of giving us a detailed insight, inside visual to the kidney and their function. What if we move from there to, I don't know, some basic aspects of the circulation system? We'll move from there on a different day to some basic functions of the pancreas. Moving from there to some basic functions of the Krebs cycle. Some basic functions of the circulation system and of the respiratory system. And what I mean by that is, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and whatever you might think of. That's a lot of work, but looking at them separately over a period of time, and then one day taking, you know, a frame from each of them in one call, bring them all together. This all works together in one unit. It's one body. What effect? Because people might notice these days that a person will say they have diabetes, right? But if they have diabetes, they will also have a plethora of other things. Well, you know, they got diabetes and they got high blood pressure and they got some heart issues. You know, they might have something going on with the kidneys. And someone said, oh my gosh, you've got all these diseases. No, they got one disease. They have one dysfunction.
I'll tell you this,
because
I just, well, you know how we spark each other.
Yeah, right.
When I was working in the urgent care or in the emergency room, you know, just or minor illness center, these acute ambulatory situations where people would walk in, like, well, we got ambos too, but generally people would walk in with their various complaints, and you know, we would handle it and send them back, and well, you know, this will handle you today, but you've got to go back to your regular doctor, blah blah blah. The one diagnosis I hated, I don't use hate much, it's just not how I'm made. I mean, it's a big word. I don't have feelings that much, right? Like negative feelings like that. But I hated to see a woman or man, but mostly it was women of seasoned age with the complaint of dizziness. because that so many things in the body could cause dizziness. It could be a neurological issue. It could be a hydration issue. It could be, I mean, the body, and our bodies are so amazing. We can, it has redundancies, and it can go beyond capacity, you know, go beyond the, what do you call it? The normal limits, quote unquote, and still function. So let's say someone is dehydrated and I mean, they know it, they might be a little thirsty, but they don't want to stop what they're doing. And they're, you know, mowing the lawn on a hot day, or something else happens, like they get a shock of bad news, or, you know, something else in the body physiologically compromises them. And, you know, if they had been hydrated, they might be okay, but now they're stressed beyond. There are baroreceptors, so they're pressure receptors in the neck. And they are situated so that they can tell if there's enough pressure going to the brain. And if those baroreceptors are triggered, meaning there's not enough blood flow to the brain, guess what happens? You faint. As soon as you're down, well, now the blood flow can flow. And so you're like, oh, I don't know what happened, you know, but you were dehydrated, then something else happened, then something else happened. It just exceeded the limits of the body and its
body's built to
ability
compensate.
To compensate. Yeah, exactly. And it knocks you down. And then gravity, now you're no longer a 6-foot hydroelectric or hydrostatic column.
Right. That,
you know, your every heartbeat has to overcome gravity for the blood to get up to the brain.
Wow.
Now, we've taken gravity out of the picture.
Right.
So the blood can just get to the brain, and you're just lying on the ground, not knowing that, you know, hopefully you didn't hit your head on the way down.
Right.
But
I mean, the body so it's that serious, it was worth the risk.
But it's something in your neck.
Yes.
That senses, okay, not enough pressure or not enough fluid, not enough, you know, we got to shut things down here, and it shuts you down. It's amazing. But then it wakes you right back up. It's like, okay, no problem. Just stay down.
and we feel like we're in control. You know, it's like we're in a car that we had nothing to do with building. And we feel like, okay, I'm running this. I'm doing, are we really? Jeez. So, a self-regulatory system can turn you off.
There's another thing. I mean, the kidneys, man, the kidneys. Okay, so, I'm sorry. When I said man, nowadays that could be construed as oppressive speech. You know, fact? You guys, that is now classified as oppressive speech on some college campuses.
Oh, really?
Because you're not all guys, you know?
Okay, granted.
Anyway, what you reminded me of, the anemia of chronic disease. So you might notice that when people have issues with other diseases completely unrelated to the blood, quote unquote, they start getting anemia and they don't know why. And yes, there's nutritional deficiency involved, you know, but there's something that the kidney makes called erythropoietin. And erythropoietin, the erythro means red, right? Erythropoietin is a hormone that stimulates your bone marrow to make red blood cells. And if in chronic disease, the kidneys are compromised, which often happens without you even knowing it, then your kidneys make less erythropoietin. So your bone marrow does not get the stimulation, and you develop this mysterious anemia. And, you know, the doctors are, okay, we need to give you iron. we need to give you erythropoietin, we need to give you this, we need to give you that, but they haven't dealt with what's happening with the kidneys. So just another example of.
And so if they were to say, let me hydrate you to detox you.
Decrease the oxidative stress, increase your blood flow, decrease the sugar damage to the kidney capillaries, all those things we've talked about. Miraculous, your blood count comes back to normal.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So,
right. So once again, we are certainly in Q&A mode for allowing people to ask their questions, come on board with comments. Certainly a good amount of information here as we get an insight into the kidneys, what they look like inside and how they actually function. Understand the importance of detoxification and hydration toward that end. And of course, with our Kangen water, having an antioxidant water that can be most effective in clearing up your kidneys, removing toxicity, and helping them be at optimum function. So definitely want to get some questions, some hands raised from out there and abroad, and take your inquiries and be more help along the way.
So while we're waiting for hands, let me see if I can bring up this. I have already made my call resources for this call because I was, really excited. So call number 403, the Adjustment Bureau, the Miraculous Renal Tubes. If you go, when we do the YouTube replay, if you go into the into the description box, this information will be there.
Wow.
And one of them is this article that I found that does give a really nice summary of, I printed it, where is it? It's around here somewhere. It gives a really nice summary of kidney function in detail. And so you can pull that up. And also the PowerPoint presentation that I just made, the link will be there.
Oh, wow, that's available?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I know.
Right?
I'm glad you think so. I don't know who goes, I can't tell who goes into these and pulls them up, but I really, try to make the description box as helpful as possible. So, yeah.
That's an incredible resource.
Yeah, so if you look, this is my, can you still see what I'm putting up?
Yeah, violates are forever.
Right,
Self-sabotage.
all of these resources are available inside the Kangen Water Radio YouTube.
You're amazing, Dr. Secretary.
For each call.
Wow.
And if needed, I can just give you the link to the individual documents as well.
Wow. So if you click on call number 3, well, let's say if you click on call number 400, like the video will come up.
Oh, Mr. Hope.
Yeah.
Kangen, our call topics list.
Sure.
There it is. All 400 calls will be available by one click, either audio, which
or video, depending on how we did it.
Up until call number 381, which was a Zoom. So remember, we had the directions for the Zoom. I don't know what pre-recorded. That's what that is. So we had directions for Zoom, but from call number 381 on, these links lead you to the Kangen Water Radio replay on YouTube. All the previous calls lead you to the freeconferencecall.com replays.
Mm,
So they're all there.
wow.
I left one out. I have to do that one, but all of these go directly to YouTube. And then once you're at the YouTube video, you can get into the call resources.
Wow. And of course, YouTube just brings you directly to the video itself. You just sit back and listen and watch it. You know, something healthy with a healthy snack or a good dinner.
Yep.
Awesome. Awesome.
So I do want to also encourage anyone who's watching this to get us your email address and either get it to me or to Mr. Hope. Maybe I could do a little housekeeping, Mr. Hope, while we're waiting.
Sure, absolutely.
So if you think of questions, feel free to interrupt me. But since we're talking about YouTube, etc., our email address is kwnation7@gmail.com. That's kwnation, the number 7@gmail.com. Also, I don't know. I think where's the invitation? There it is. We will be here on Kangen Water Radio on Wednesdays and Saturdays. On Wednesdays, just like today, on Dr. Lisa Health Zoom, and on Saturdays, Kangen Water Radio Zoom. I put the meeting ID there just in case you're starting from another, if you just start from zoom.us and hit join meeting, then that's the number that you put in. You can contact us in our USA, UAE, or UK websites. And like I said, please make sure we have your email address, because that, and if possible, also your texting information. I love sending communications out via text and via email. And depending on what I'm sending, sometimes it's easier to put the information in one form or another. For instance, if there's a PDF file that has to be emailed, unless there's some magic technology I use. Sometimes the magic technology works. Okie dokie. Also, we have a phone number, right? Area code 866-526-4368. That's 866-526-4368. That's US toll free. We also have a UK number, +44 0800 086 9793. That's country code +44 0800 086 9793. So I hope you have been encouraged to drink more Kangen water. There are very few people that I talk to, even on the team, that are actually drinking the Kangen water they need to. But just think about it. If you are not drinking the proper amount, you're causing stress on the kidneys, because they've got to do more to concentrate those toxins and concentrate the solutes and the salts. And you're not giving them a lot to work with when it comes to the fluid that's going through. So be kind to your kidneys.
Amen. So I'll give a little expose about the Kangen water as we head out of the call today, just to remind everybody what it is, how it works within the body, and in fact, you should be drinking it to keep yourself healthy. I'd like to remind you again and again. So once again, where are we? Kangen water, yes? Change your water, change your life. And Kangen water is as what we call electrolyzed reduced water. And my computer has chosen to freeze, and that's okay. Okay, there we go. It let itself go. Hold on one second. As I'd like to just show you one or two things here in our good book of knowledge and information. All right, there we go. And lovely, right? Good, 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 good. And we're back, and we're sharing, and we're walking, and we're moving on. There we go. So Kangen water is an electrolyzed reduced water by science definition. And if you ever want to know what Kangen water is, that is the name that you look up. You don't look up Kangen water because that's our brand name. You want to look up electrolyzed reduced water. And my computer keeps freezing. I'm not exactly sure why, but I'm trying to work my way through it.
Would you like an assist?
I think I'm gonna try one more time to share. It's, sharing is caring, so we like to share. All right, I'm sharing again, and all I needed to do this time is to let the slides go forward, and it's going forward. Yes. So Kangen water is an electrolyzed reduced water by science definition. Electrolyzed reduced water. There are other elements within the water that are produced that are antioxidant, one of which is molecular hydrogen. Here's an example of one of our Kangen water machines, which everybody's familiar with, the flagship ST501, and the different settings it has and available waters that it makes that are all antioxidant. We're very familiar with that. The whole key idea here is to detox the body. And so what happens when you drink Kangen water? Well, water in the Kangen water machines is hit by electricity at a very high wattage. We like to call it a mini lightning strike. And it causes a dissociation of the water molecule, which produces new molecular structures that have an antioxidant effect. The key, once again, is detoxification. So we have water, H2O, and we're hitting that water with electricity. Okay, I'll say it, kapow, you know, and that causes the breakdown of the water molecule, H2O, to its elements. You produce something called an hydroxide ion, which is an alkaline molecule. And this is used as a measuring tool to measure the overall volume of antioxidants produced within the Kangen water. So we see the whole series of things occur with water and the conversion into hydroxide ions, and of course the production of other molecules, which we like to talk about again later on. Overall goal is to detox the body. And so as we look here, this is what's known as a ORP meter chart, ORP meter chart. ORP stands for oxidation reduction potential, oxidation reduction potential. The potential is to remove toxicity from the body. We'll put it simply as that, yeah? And we're looking here and we're seeing a negative number on this side, negative 400, 300, 200, 100, also known as a negative ORP. And we see a positive number over here, positive 1 through 400. And so the meter itself will show either a negative charge or a positive charge as it measures the oxidation reduction potential, or the ability for the liquid substance to detox you when you drink it, or to retain toxicity and be more oxidizing, yeah? So this is what the Kangen water gets to. You begin to see that things like Kangen water can have a negative charge, even some things that are antioxidant, like green tea. Vitamin C is depicted here. The overall point of this slide is showing that Kangen has a strong detoxability, because the higher the negative number on this chart, the stronger the detoxability of the liquid substance. Kangen water is known to have ORPs that are negative as high as 800, 750. My machine inside can probably give us an easy 750 very easily. And then you look at the other substances out there that you might ingest. Soda being one of the big culprits. It's a positive 400 on the far end of the scale, opposite spectrum from what Kangen water is. And soda can be very oxidizing. Soda has many properties that can be very damaging to the body, including the ability for it to deactivate your stomach acids, to cause an imbalance in your pH because it's an inorganic acid, and it can cause your body to leach, pull minerals from your bones in order to rebalance the pH of your other organs. Because all the organs in your body have to maintain pH balance. Well, we can do that, keeping a pH balance, if we can detox properly. And that's the point of the Kangen water machines. But if you're ingesting substances that don't do that, you reduce your body's ability to detox properly. Soda is a big culprit of that. Tap water as well. Some of the bottled waters in the market, like distilled waters, reverse osmosis waters, some of the bottled purified waters, like Dasani and Aquafina, big culprits of that. So Kangen water, why we promote it? It's excellent at detoxification of the body. Electrolysis is the process that led to the production of the antioxidant molecules in Kangen water. So when you hear us talk about Kangen water, you hear us talk about electrolyzed reduced water, electrolysis, electricity, process where electricity is directly affecting the outcome of what water will be in through our machines. Now, you've often heard people talk about alkalinity, and they'll say that Kangen water is alkaline water. And they'll say that the body is alkaline, drink alkaline water, eat alkaline foods, and your body will be healthy. It's really not quite accurate, yeah? So the pH scale goes from 7 to 14, rather from 0 to 14. This scale shows from the far left the acidic ranges coming all the way up to the neutral, which is green color coded, and a 7 on the 0 to 14 scale, going above that all the way up to the high alkalinity of maybe 9.5. So anything below a 7 on the scale is considered to be acidic. Anything above a 7 on the scale is considered to be alkaline. You'll see charts like this on other people's presentations, often talking about acidity being bad health and alkalinity being good health. Well, there are some organs in the body that are completely alkaline. There are some organs in the body that are completely acidic. And depending on the pH need of that particular organ will be where that organ's pH will be. So it's not to say that everything acidic is bad. You can drink and eat organic acid foods like oranges and pineapples and tomatoes. You know, those are nutrients. They have acid pHs, but your body can take an acid pH organic food, convert it to energy, just like it can do the same thing for organic alkaline foods as well, like apples and maybe broccoli and dark leafy vegetables. So on the pH scale, anything above a 7 is considered alkaline. Anything below a 7 is considered acidic. And depending on the organ of the body, it'll either be alkaline or acidic at a specific level where needed. You know, the body is self-healing. And, you know, if you take a look at the animals in the wild, as I like to point out again and again, they have no kidney failure, no high blood pressure, no diabetes. None of them are going to dialysis centers. They're eating the food that their body is designed to have. And if we do the same, we can enjoy the same health. You notice that, you know, of course, I talk about the body's, you know, getting scratches and cuts and just healing on your own. Once again, the body is self-regulating as long as you have the proper hydration and detoxification. Dr. Singletary talked about the fish tank and wanted to make sure that we're keeping it clear. Just like with the kidneys, we want to make sure we're flushing the kidneys properly, getting enough water in the system so that the kidneys can fulfill their function. As sensitive and what a marvelous work is to make such an organ such as that, one of many, of course, throughout the body. We want to take care of it properly so that it takes care of you and you're well taken care of. Your body is mostly water. Make sure you're getting plenty of water on a daily basis, and the kind of water you drink will dictate the health of your body and its organs. So drink Kangen water and change your water for whatever you're drinking, and it will change your life so that you as well can live a happier, healthier life. I'll always look up water regarding Kangen under the heading Electrolyze Reduced Water to understand the science behind it. Thereby, you will understand the over 14,000 science reviews and clinical trials that have been done and show the benefits of what this kind of water can do for your body. We're not allowed to make medical claims about what Kangen water can do. That's our brand name. But the science of our kind of water is available. And you can look that up on the science journals. All right, I'll pause there and back to you, Dr. Secretary.
Thank you, Mr. Hope. Am I unmuted? I think so.
Yes,
Okay.
very clear.
Oh, good. I am just, I'm just so thankful to have this call and to be able to put this information out in, and I'm glad you said it was understandable because, you know, I can get a little geeky in my teaching.
Hey, you're a doctor, you're a scientist. You're supposed to have all those terms, you know. But you're doing well. You're doing well. And what I've noticed with like the best teaching from a person, of course, who's a scientist or a doctor, is as you go along, just defining the terms, because it's English after all, and we just need to have it, you know, defined as something that we know.
I'm really good at translating English to English.
Well, there you go.
I got skills.
You're fluent in that language, I see.
I'm fluent in multiple types of English.
There you go. There you go.
All righty. So listen, Saturday is July 3rd. Tomorrow's the 1st of July.
Yeah, there's that. Yeah.
And Saturday's July 3rd. So my topic is, oh, say, can you see? We're going to talk about eye health on Saturday, how vision happens. You were amazed by the kidney.
Wow.
Wait till you see what happens with your sight.
Wait till you see.
See, I know. Even when I do it and I don't mean it,
wow, see
I
that?
caught it.
There it is. There it is.
So everybody have a wonderful rest of the week. Thank you for joining us today live. And we thank you for those of you who are on the recording with us, and make sure at YouTube, Kangen Water Radio. When you do, please go there, please. Do all the things. Like us, love us, subscribe, make comments. You know, any questions you have, if we miss them, if you think of a question after the call, you can put it in the Kangen Water Radio YouTube area. You can do it on Facebook. I'm going to tell you though, I'm not a Facebook girl. So my Facebook community is private, secret, invitation only. But if you want in there, you just let me know. But we will, Mr. Hope, we'll check the Kangen Water Radio Facebook for your questions and comments as well. Subscribe, all the things. And, you know, I don't know how the algorithms go. I just know that when you communicate with us, I love it so much. And if you have questions, I want to help you. We want to help you get those answered. So. Do I have the last word?
Awesome. Change your water, change your life. Drink Kangen water.
Mwah.
See you then.
Love you all.
Take care.